Do you think you could take on a tank?
Easy.
What about a tank that shoots lightning?
Do I look scared to you?
I guess not. But what about a steampunk-powered giant robot with lightning and a hammer?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
WarMachine's pretty crazy. Huh, wait, you'd have to fight 3 of them at once. And there's a 3-headed snake! As a channel, we've been doing everything we can to get more content, get things out there, and get the channel a little bigger to grow. And so I've been reaching out to different vendors to see, if they're willing to help us with that process. And we've had a few. We've had a couple people send us resin and different things like that for 3D printing. And this last week, we actually had a really big one come through. And what that is WarMachine. For those of you who know the channel, the reason I got so involved with WarMachine over a year ago is because they announced that they were going to be 3D printing their models. And at the time, Warhammer was something that was so out of my reach as far as price goes. I thought, I already have a 3D printer. I can 3D print an army. This is going to be amazing. I didn't know how they were going to do it or what they were going to do, but I was excited. And so I started looking into it and I thought, this is actually a really cool game. How come I haven't heard about this? And as time went by, I got some clarification, and it wasn't the clarification I wanted. Yes, Privateer Press is 3D printing the models that they use for WarMachine, like this, right here. But they're not letting other people 3D print them. They're not selling the STL files so other people can print them. And so originally I was kind of like, oh, well, that's not what I wanted to hear, but I had already been hooked.
Hook, line, and sinker.
I wanted to know more about Private Press, and I wanted to know more about WarMachine and what it was like. And so I reached out to them, and they sent me a starter army kit. And if you could, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that like button and get people pulled to this channel. If you're a friend of WarMachine like I am, the more people that get pulled to this video, the more people that will get the knowledge that I'm about to share. So help me out with that. So what is WarMachine? Well, back in 2003, 2005, Games Workshop was not doing so well. They had let their customers down. It's almost like we've heard about this before. But they let them down in a big way and people weren't super happy with the game, and it created this strange vacuum where something was needed to fill it. And WarMachine appeared to be the game that was going to do that. It came out with a tabletop war game, similar to Warhammer, but different and focusing on strategy and things like that a little more than just army building, just the army list. And so WarMachine was born, and then slightly thereafter was Hordes. And Hordes was kind of, WarMachine is the steampunk technology side with giant robots that fight, whereas Hordes is the warlock and magic side of it. And originally they were 2 separate games that could be played together. So you could fight your warcasting WarMachine army against a Hordes army, and the fans affectionately called it Warm Hordes, because that just rolls off the tongue. And actually lately it no longer goes by Hordes. Hordes has been dropped and the game as a whole is now just referred to as WarMachine, but you still have the same armies and everything that existed in Hordes and WarMachine. Now they're just combined together under one game. WarMachine right now is in its 4th edition. It seems like about every 7 years or so they change editions, and this one is focused on new players.
Are you new?
Now, I said that they filled the hole. WarMachine seemed to be this game that was going places, and a lot of you probably haven't heard of it, and that's just because after a series of bad choices, we'll say, WarMachine kind of started to not do so well. And with it not doing so well, and Warhammer figuring things out,
Took long enough.
Warhammer came back into the spotlight, and WarMachine kind of slowly drifted back into the background. But it is alive, it is kicking. They still are releasing new models constantly, and this new edition came out just about a year ago now, and I think you'll find it interesting. All right, now that we know what WarMachine is, let's talk about the models. When you order the model kits, they will come to you like this. This is one piece. This is not put together. I didn't have to put together anything. It's one piece, and as you notice, it has these supports right here. These are 3D printed models. Okay, and so supports that are in a little tougher areas, they leave behind for you to clean up. But cleanup doesn't seem to be too difficult with these, and it's not that big of a deal. I mean, when you're putting together any other normal like units, you're going to have to get rid of layer lines and all that kind of stuff, but with these models you don't have to do that because they are 3D printed. Now with 3D printed, you always talk about quality, and as you can see when I turn it just like this and it catches the light just right, you start to see those layer lines from the 3D print, and you think, well, it's always going to look weird because it's always going to have those layer lines. Right here I have the same exact model with one base coat of primer. I primed them up. So as you can see, same light, same area. Where those layer lines were, you can barely see them. And once you put on normal paint, normal acrylic paint, or whatever you use over the top of that, you won't even be able to tell. So kind of cool. Really nice that they come in one piece. Now flexibility is always something that you kind of have to question when it comes to resin, but as you can see, there's some give and take with these various pieces. They move around. It's not super stiff, but if you're going to drop them, yeah, they're probably going to break. Okay, you'll just have to glue them back together if that happens. If you drop them from a foot, it's not going to be a big deal, as you can see from that. But if you drop them from very high, yeah, there's a good chance they're going to break, but they're light. They don't weigh a bunch. As a 3D printer myself, when I first opened the box, I could not tell that they were 3D printed until I started looking at them, you know, and did that little light trick to see the layer lines, and then I could see those layer lines. But the quality on these is really good. And, you know, all the stuff that I would be afraid of with 3D printed models, these have kind of proven not to be. Now, people have talked about how it's not easy to model, to kit bash the models and things like that. And I wanted to point this out. This is one group of minis. So this is a group that is together, and as you can see from them, they all have dynamic poses. They're all different. Okay, they all look different. You don't have to kit bash them to make them look different. You don't have 10 of the same unit. I mean, these are all the same, but they look very different, which I think is super cool. I have cut these with a razor blade. It was not super difficult. Kit bashing, still an option. The resin itself is a little bit softer resin than I have dealt with in the past, so I feel like that isn't an issue either. The big units that come in multiple pieces that you have to put together, they come with magnets. And Privateer Press actually sends you a pack of magnets for all of these, and you can put them together. There's multiple heads, there's multiple arms and things like that. There's all this stuff that you can swap out for these units to change their point value. So you have all these different options of different things that you can put in, and they're pre-done. You don't have to drill those holes. You don't have to do anything. They're already in there. You just put the super glue in and the magnet in, and you can attach them and swap them out whenever you want. So as far as the models go, super happy with these. They have some models that are just awesome, like this one. This is one of the solo units. I think this model is amazing, and I'm looking forward to painting it so much. So if you're worried about the models, don't be. They're pretty good, and from what I understand, if you ever get a model that's shipped to you and it's broken, Privateer Press will replace it, no questions asked, and supposedly they're really good at it. So keep that in mind with the models. So the last question that everyone's gonna ask is, how does it play? What's the gameplay like? And in a lot of ways, it's similar to Warhammer, turn-based, right? My turn, your turn, my turn, your turn. And you move all your units during your turn, I move all mine during mine. Some of the major differences and some of the things that I think really set apart is that the war machines, the jacks or war jacks, or the large beasts in your army generally have multiple hit points and multiple areas where you can damage them. You know, I'm talking about cores, arms, legs, things like that. And so units can be disabled. And those units are also controlled by the Warcaster or the Warlock. And the Warlock comes with and the Warcaster comes with their own abilities, their own skills, and using what's called focus, they command their creatures or move their giant creatures around the board. And so the way that you divvy out your focus, the way that you're saying this creature's going to have this focus, this creature's going to have this one, kind of adds another layer to the game of what is that creature going to do? Oh, he gave 2 focus to this creature. What's it going to do this next round? And so you kind of have to prepare. You have to use strategy in order to deal with those large creatures. All the while you're having to deal with solo units and small groups that are moving around the battlefield as well. Another thing that I have to add that is really cool about this game is that if you kill the general, it's game over. Generally, if the Warcaster or the Warlock is killed, you win. The Warjacks cease to function, the giant beasts don't have anyone to control them anymore, and so it's game over, which just adds another layer of, do I want to go after this? Do I want to go after that? Do I want to focus the Warcaster? And for the most part, Warcasters are generally very strong units. It feels like, you know, a wizard. It feels like a general commanding your units with the strength that they have and the abilities they have. So as far as gameplay goes, I really like it. With that being said, I am still in the process of painting my army. My son actually has another army that he is going to be painting, and we're going to be playing a lot more with it soon, and I'll have a lot more insights in the future. I plan to post more videos about WarMachine and other tabletop games, trying to give them a chance, get them into the limelight. So I want to again thank Privateer Press for sending WarMachine my way. No, it's not what I originally thought it would be, but it's really good and it's really fun. And like I said, it's a fraction of the price of Warhammer and some of the other tabletop games that are out there. My whole army, when it first came out, was $200 from Privateer Press. You can buy them on Amazon for $150, $130. And that box is everything you need to play. That is a 50+ point army, you know? And so you can take that box and you can go play. You can add some things to it and make it a little higher point value if you want to play higher point games. But for starting off, this is perfect. Privateer Press has knocked it out of the park. And it's a home run for new players. And so, if you're curious, spend a little money, try it out. The community is amazing. There are multiple Facebook groups that you can join that all they do is support each other and help each other out. And the community is just great. So if you can find a local group in your area to play, get to it. You won't regret it. For those of us here at Pulsegate Gaming, thank you for watching. We couldn't make the content we make without you. And we appreciate every like. We appreciate every view that this video gets. And all it does is help our little channel grow and hopefully get bigger and better. And as always, don't spend so much time creating your world that you forget to spend some time in it. Until next time.